They're all around us, hidden from our sight and laughing at our ignorance of their existence. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be totally unaware of what is right outside your doorstep. Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jacob Moore, and I'm about to show you that with the proper skills and/or training, you yourself can learn how to track these elusive creatures. Now then, before you head out on your wilderness adventure, there's plenty of preparation going in beforehand. First, you must familiarize yourself with the various types of wildlife that you'll come across. Online resources are invaluable in this respect. You can look up the tracks, scat, and calling patterns of any species you might come across. And if you're new to this, I'd recommend making a target list of all the species that you might come across, such as raccoon, coyote, deer, rabbit, and, if we're lucky, squirrel. Now, you might think you're plenty prepared for this expedition now, but there's a lot more steps that you need to follow. Proper attire is very important on these expeditions. If you're in an area where there might be hunters, it's required by law and very smart to wear bright orange of some kind. It distinguishes you from the forest easily, and some species such as deer are unable to see the bright color, and therefore it doesn't scare them. However, if you're in a safe area, such as my backyard, then you're okay going off with colors that blend in with your surrounding, such as this white jacket. In addition, the proper footwear, such as these hiking boots and gloves, are very important. Navigating unfamiliar territory is very risky, especially if you're going alone. I'd recommend always bringing at least a compass or map with you at all times. As much as you might be tempted, don't bring a GPS or iPhone. These devices are loud and animals will see you coming from a mile away. Other things that I do recommend bringing are binoculars and a camera. Binoculars help you see the animals before they see you sneaking up on them. And the camera is important because you need to capture the evidence. Another important thing to think about is self-defense. The real woods are nothing like what you see in Sleeping Beauty and Snow White. The real woods can be a savage place, full of dangerous creatures, and you need to be ready and willing to defend yourself if necessary. But, unless you're going hunting, I wouldn't recommend bringing a gun or bow and arrow. These are very obvious, and creatures will see you coming from a mile away. And that's why something subtle, such as this knife, or this machete, are very nice. Because they can be hidden for the most part, and animals are usually unfamiliar with this primitive technology nowadays. Although I find the best self-defense alternative is a good walking stick. Not only does it have superior range, but you can fight multiple enemies at once, which I found out once was very useful at fighting a pack of coyotes. Now that you have the proper tools and attire, it's time to get out there and find those animals. Tracking animals in the winter is especially easy, as tracks are very commonly found in the snow. These tracks right here have been left by the elusive gray squirrel, a species I've been tracking unsuccessfully for many months. And I'm only about 20 feet from my house, so this is an exceptional find. However, this creature is clearly not afraid of human beings, and may in fact lash out if startled.
Ah, there you are, you squirrel. Get back here and face me like a man. Ah, I hate squirrels.
Another thing to take note of is the markings you might find on trees. Now, I've just found this right here. It appears that this young tree has been bitten in half by something very large, perhaps something very dangerous as well. And I fear it might be a moose, as they are occasionally found in this area. Moose are perhaps the most dangerous creatures on this planet, so if you see these markings, proceed with caution. So I've just had a close encounter with a large moose. Fortunately, I wasn't able to get it on camera, but I just barely escaped with my life. But like I said, the woods can be very dangerous. Oh, look, feces. Jackpot. So it's a bit frozen, but all feces has a story to tell. These are about dime size or smaller and very close together, so you can tell that this is most likely rabbit feces. You have a nice sample of deer scat or feces. If you're unsure about the feces you're looking at, refer to the target list that you made earlier, because feces is one of the most important tools in tracking wild animals. Although tracks and feces is important, don't forget to every now and again just stop and listen. The calls of animals are never mistaken. They always tell you where the animals are at that exact moment. And if the animals know that you're tracking them, they can lay down false sets of tracks and feces patterns to throw you off their trail. So make sure to mix it up a bit. So you've seen the signs, you think you know where the animal is, and you're ready to start approaching. But first, you need to cover your scent. Going as your normal human self just won't cut it, since most animals have an extremely strong sense of smell, especially deer. You always want to try to stay upwind of the deer so the wind carries your scent away from them rather than towards them. Although, I find nothing works better at covering your scent than a little deer urine. There are many ways to collect deer urine, none of them particularly good, but a little urine never hurt anybody. So here we go. A little here, a little there. Bada bing. Bada boom. And now you're invisible to the deer, and you can start approaching them. Now, remember to stay quiet and calm as you approach the animal. Startled animals can be very dangerous. And if it's mating season, especially turkey mating season, you have to be very careful not to be seen, otherwise the males might attack you. You want to try to stay at least 40 feet away, a nice safe distance. And if there's any tall brush or grass, then you want to try to hide yourself from their sight. Let's try to find that. So when you finally see the creature you're after, you want to try and get photographic evidence of it so you can show your friends. You can also try sketching the creatures, which I have found to be a nice alternative. Also, if you're trying to actually capture the creature, I prefer to use stealth over strength. Come here, check it. I got it. Well, that was a fun little experience, wasn't it? We saw a squirrel, caught a chicken, and barely escaped with our lives from a moose. Now you know all the skills needed to become a successful wildlife tracker. Knowing these skills is very useful. It can be used in hunting, sightseeing, and pest control if need be. You can even make yourself a living off of it. But hey, enough video. You go on out there yourself and make a name for yourself among the forest creatures.